All right, we're heading home now. It's almost 5 o'clock. So from the morning that started at, what time did I get up? A quarter after 4:30, 5. I'm too tired to know. Let's see. So I'm leaving the Meadowlands now. Well, I know I set up at 7:15, so that's like 8 hours later. Here's a good discussion, I guess, because it's interesting what happens in flea markets. It's still winter here in the New York City tri-state area, and the winter so far, at least at the Meadowlands, has not been fantastic in terms of the flea market. Even on the few days we had nicer weather, the crowd didn't really show up, and the 1 week they did, they just kind of walked around like zombies. And that happens sometimes. I'm not sure why. People just end up really sightseeing. It doesn't mean they're not going to make any money, but stuff happens. There's odd phenomenons in different markets, and within the whole flea market selling phenomenon by itself. So I didn't really expect much today, because the past 2 weeks, even though they've been nice, has been different. And to contradict that, the past 2 Sundays at Columbus have been excellent. In fact, 2 Sundays ago was so packed you could barely walk. It was like a summer. It was hot out, but for a winter day, it was really ridiculous in terms of the number of people there. I did well that day, but compared to the number of people, I could have done better, or should have done better. I think everybody sometimes just comes out to take a walk rather than to sell, which is okay. Flea markets for families are a family outing. They can go out and get a few hot dogs and an ice cream or whatever, because there's always vendors selling that too, and just go for a walk. Personally, I'd rather bring my kids to a park, because you will find it's the same people often. That doesn't mean there's never anybody different. There's often a lot of different people, but often it's the same people too. So I was pleasantly surprised today. I did well, not just monetarily, but one of the things I sell is, to revisit that, I sell small electronics and accessories, so it'd be phone cables and other knickknacks and battery cases and batteries and speakers and Bluetooth neck pieces, Bluetooth headsets, Bluetooth selfie sticks, Bluetooth splitters, all the things you might hook up to your phone and so on. And the interesting thing was, I had a bunch of speakers that nobody was buying for a while, and that happens. And I was able to sell a lot of them today without discounting them, because I was even contemplating before today to start taking $5 or $10 off of them. So they could be a $40 speaker or a $30 speaker. So instead of sitting on stuff, the speaker itself will be intact, but the box starts getting beat up. I sell only new stuff, so sometimes people are like, "Is this used?" Or sometimes, I don't know why, they think I'm selling closeout items. I don't get my merchandise that way. I get it from wholesalers. I have some name brand stuff and generic stuff. And in the case of, say, the Marvel clothing, that's legit Marvel stuff. In fact, from the top level source, it's not even being licensed. It's being done from Marvel themselves. I'm dying. I have had nothing to eat except for the breakfast. I managed to find a protein bar under one of the seats, and the vendor next to me was able to give me a very horrible pizza bagel, which one of the vendors was selling. So I'm going backwards through Route 3. Manhattan's before me again. It's pretty cloudy, which I was half thinking talking about on the way to Columbus tomorrow, but actually there may be no way to Columbus tomorrow. The weather forecast is saying it's going to be raining tomorrow. and that makes me really nervous. Columbus is, I think it's 83 miles from my house, and I don't really feel like driving 83 miles to find out that it's going to rain. So what I ought to do is I overcompensate, because it can be odd. You don't want to get there at 7 o'clock and find out that it's raining at 10. But there is a line in the sand, because if it rains at 3 o'clock, that's enough selling hours. And many vendors already leave at that point, believe it or not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go home the same way I passed through Manhattan to get into Queens. So I'm probably going to get something to eat there. As well, if I forget, I'm going to be going through the tunnel again. And even though the tunnel has a connection, sometimes it's not perfect. So I might get cut off at that point. Anyway, the flea market was, again, we're still winter. It's March, I don't know what the exact date is, March 10th or something. And so that's a nice thing that happened today. The weather was nice. It was 60 degrees and sunny. It was warm enough. I put up my canopy. It's the first time I've done it here since I think the last week in December. I've just been putting up tables at this point. It was either too cold. Sometimes you sit in your car because it's that cold. There's not as many customers. So you have to think of things like that. So as an example, today I came with 2 flannel shirts. I have about 4 hoodies. My coat's in the back, even though I haven't worn my coat all year yet. And you always have to plan for stuff like that. I have knit ski caps. I have baseball caps. So you gotta prepare for everything. As I said, my daughters normally come with me, and I'm actually a very hot person, so I don't really get cold. But sometimes it eats on you. One thing about the flea market is you're always going to be out in the wind, and even on a day where there's no wind, all of a sudden it can whip up. So you have to be concerned about things like that too. In fact, there's tons and tons of minor little details like that that you need to be concerned about. Before I forget again too, what I'm going to try to do is post these onto YouTube. At least at the time, one at a time. Not sure which account yet, but probably under Envy This Stuff, which is this account. I also have a Twitter account. There was an envythisstuff.com, but my domain name provider failed to tell me that it got canceled. I had thought I had a multi-year agreement, but apparently not. And unbeknownst to me, I had left it for 2 months or so, and when I came back to do it, it was gone. And now some domain name salesman has hold of it. I'm annoyed enough that I haven't asked him what price he wants for it, but I would like the domain name back. I like the name, and I've done a few things with it, and people seem to enjoy the name. It's cute and stupid or whatever, but that's fine. But I've done some minor branding with it, and it seems to be a reasonable name to take. In any event, so on that note, I'll probably post these to YouTube/envy.com, and there's a Twitter @envy.com, and there's a Facebook, although I think Facebook took my page down about a month ago because I didn't have it properly under a commercial name. So I have to figure that out too, but I might leave Facebook alone. There's a line in the sand where you can't maintain every electronic social media direction. So in any event, there's envythisstuff@gmail.com if anybody wants to send me an email at any point about any flea market related topic, multipreneur, entrepreneur. I don't know how much I want to get into too many non-flea market aspects, but they all relate. So doing sales, pricing things, how to interact with customers, how to interact with other vendors, how to source your products, how to create your products. There's certainly capability of doing OEM stuff and ODM stuff, where you're either creating something original or branding something that somebody else created, where you either put your name on it or have them do some specific tailoring to it. So that there's a plethora of things. So I just wanted to stop in on going around the Helix now to go into the Lincoln Tunnel. And I'll have to pay the toll. That's $15, so that's a business expense right there. Actually, I should have stopped with gas as well because I have no gas. It's immensely cheaper to get gas in New Jersey than it is to get in New York City. And in fact, by the time I get home, and if I do go to Columbus tomorrow, by the time I get to the point of getting to somewhere, I'm going to have not enough gas, so I'm going to have to at least get some in New York City. And you know, when you fill up a tank, you might be saving $10 when it's all done, which is significant. So it might cost me right now, I think it's about $25 to fill it up here, and it might be up to $33 or something, or whatever, in New York City. So, and you know what? That could pay for your lunch when you look at it that way, or it could pay for something else. Try to connect into all these different things without getting killed again. Crap, what did I do with the money? Have receipt? Thank you. It's my favorite. My favorite's Hole Ticker. The guy's nasty. Oh, here's the money. That was weird. I thought I misplaced it. Which is another thing you have to do. I always have a pocket shirt, whether it's the flannel shirt or a t-shirt. I don't really like putting it in my pocket. What I do, just to know, is whether it's me or me and my two daughters, we like to start with $100 seed money, and so we either divide that up. If there's two of us, it's 50 each. If it's three of us, it's 33 each. I sell things that are $1 and so on, so we split it between 5s and 10s and singles, and if one of us runs out of, say, singles, then we can get it from the other. When people give us 100, other people like them, so it's what you will enjoy or find useful. I'd rather just keep the money on me, and then I know where it is at all times. And on that note, keep track of your money. There's times when it gets packed and you're doing multiple sales with multiple hands and your feet at the same time. You could actually give people the wrong change, which is an error for them, and that's very embarrassing. I spent most of my life, even when I did sales stuff, it was not retail sales, even though that's part of what I'm doing now. Was electronic money, so I didn't have to give people change. They just paid through PayPal or through a credit card or something like that. I never really dealt with cash directly until I started in the flea markets 5 years ago, whatever. So I always thought if I went into a deli or a candy store or a supermarket and the clerk gave me the wrong money, I knew for certain that they purposely gypped me. And now when I do it to other people, I'm in complete embarrassment because I can't believe I've done that. And it goes both ways. If somebody gives me $100 and they bought something for $10, they're supposed to be getting $90 back. And sometimes I will give them, instead of 4 20s and a 10, I will give them a 10, 3 20s and a 50. So they end up getting ahead. So it balances out, but from a person-to-person thing, you want to make sure you're giving change properly and so on. Right now I'm exhausted, and I have to make a mental effort just before I left to be counting the money properly. And tomorrow will be worse because by the time it's now 5 o'clock or whatever, 5:15, by the time I get home, because I'm stopping in Manhattan, it might be 7 or 8 o'clock. And then if I go to Columbus, I'm going to be waking up at 3:30 or something, or earlier. And though I'm not going to get an 8-hour sleep or whatever. In fact, it's going to be worse because tying into something I was going to say earlier, what I normally do is when there's a call for rain, I'm probably going to wake up every hour. Because if it turns out that the clouds are going to come later, then I can plan for that. If it turns out the clouds are going to come earlier, then I can decide I'm not going to, say, Columbus, and I might go to a local flea market. And there's flea markets all over the place. There's really no central great one in the New York City area, but there's one a few blocks away, which is indoors and really small. So I can make a choice about what merch to bring. For instance, now that I sell the Marvel Comics, some of their clothing items, I can just decide to drag that in and get a table. Sometimes on a whim too, I decide I want to do 2 tables there. So, and then I have to drag everything. I have to still get there early, but I can still. It's still more reasonable than, say, going to Columbus. If it rains, I may go nowhere. I've recently resurrected my eBay site, eBay listings, so I can certainly add more listings. I'm in a nice place with that, selling some of the same merch, which is hard because you have to price it differently and consider postage and other things. And it becomes chasing because I have to have duplicate merchandise. Otherwise, I'm trying to mentally figure out what did I sell at the flea market that I just got the order for. So while I was at the flea market today, I got a few eBay orders. I have that merch in a different part of my house or whatever that I keep track of stuff with. That way I really mix the things. Sometimes when there's a special item that for some reason I can't get anymore, or I'm down to one and then the shipment got screwed up or something, that one I'll try to mentally keep track of. There's a special loudspeaker that might go for $60 or something. I'll keep track of that, and if I sell it, I'll immediately end that listing. There is a small gray area where somebody could have coincidentally bought it online as well as the thing, but usually I keep the merchandise separate, which is a pain in the neck because it's bad enough you have thousands of dollars of merch in your car and thousands of dollars of merch somewhere else, but now I have to have thousands of dollars of merch sitting around just for eBay stuff. So it becomes a pain in the neck. That said, the other side of the coin is if something's not selling in the flea market, or pricing is interesting on eBay, or something is not selling on eBay, I can move the merch back and forth. So, for instance, the idea of doing a clearance sale. Also, when you find something working at the flea market, it can go the opposite way, where you might find raising the price makes sense. And there's a whole bunch of interesting things that happen. Okay, I'm through the tunnel. I'm back in Manhattan. It's still daylight out. It's super cloudy. I don't know. It just feels like when I was packing up at the Meadowlands that it was going to be raining. So I just feel in my bones that's what's going to end up happening. But you know what? 3:30 is still 10 hours away, so there's enough time for me to figure something like that out. What's this guy doing? Some guy's spooking me for some reason. Oh, he wants to get in the lane behind me. All right, so I feel really good. I was surprised that the day was better than it was. Beautiful weather. Didn't need a coat. I wore this the whole day. I came out this morning with it. And didn't need anything else. In fact, I was tempted to take it off. So, this is one of the interesting things about flea markets sometimes. I came in with little expectation, and it wasn't that the Meadowlands was crowded, but everybody was in good spirits, it seemed, in a good buying mood. And as I said, I was able to sell some speakers, as well as everything else I sold. Some speakers that I was trying to get rid of for a while. Good speakers. Just, and sometimes you'll find that's what happens. Can't really explain it sometimes. One day I'll go out and I just sell hundreds or 1,000 cables or whatever. Some days I go out and I might only sell 100 cables, but I sell out of all the neck pieces. Another day I also have Bluetooth headsets. I might sell out of them. In fact, I sold a lot of those today. So, which is nice because one of my selling things is dollar cables, but at the most I can only make $1 on that. So that's if I got the cables for a penny, then I'm only making almost 99 cents, and I'm not getting the cables for a penny. So I have to. That's an item that I could like to play around with on volume. On the other hand, something like a speaker, I can mark that up sometimes significantly, sometimes not. It depends on the item. And it's odd because people challenge the pricing often too, and sometimes it depends on what you paid. I can have a Bluetooth speaker that has Bluetooth, FM radio, SD card. You can put a flash drive in it. They're all rechargeable batteries, good battery life. They're both pretty. They're both about the same size, and one of them might cost me X dollars, and the other one cost me 2 times X. So for argument's sake, if a speaker costs me $20, another speaker might cost me $40. And you really can't explain why there's that difference. So, but the bottom line is, so when I price them, I have to price the 41 higher and the 21 higher. And I kind of balance it out because you're at a flea market too, you have to realize that too. So even though you can have quality products, people are always still looking for a deal. So I try to weigh everything all together and try to make sense out of things like that. So, okay. Trying not to get in an accident or crack into somebody. Just people walking around. Actually, it looks like there's enough people in Manhattan today too. Because normally at this time when I come back, I can get smooth entry into Manhattan. Actually, this wasn't too bad, but now that I'm in Manhattan, it seems to be crowded. So I'm gonna shut this off in a few minutes because I'm gonna turn down one of the avenues and get something to eat. There's a lot of gourmet delis here, and really, really nice food. I'm not gonna go to a restaurant. I might even meet up with somebody. I don't know if they're in Manhattan at the moment. But I want to get back because I want to replenish stuff. I sold out of almost all iPhone 5 white cables today, and I have none left. So I'm hoping my order gets in on Monday and Tuesday, so that I can plan for flea markets during the week. Sometimes that's a good thing. For argument's sake, for instance, like I don't sell many yellow cables, although I do have them. And the odd thing is when white runs out, people will buy those odd cables. For instance, orange and yellow is the least most popular. And often some of the wholesalers are trying to dump those on me. So I have to sometimes explicitly tell them, no, don't do that. You know, if I get a lot of my stuff directly from China, and I don't want to find out that I paid DHL extra money for whatever that thing weighed, and it's full of orange and yellow cables. So, and now I have some good factories that work with me. I've been working with them for longer than the 5 years. Probably 10 years. Probably 10. My entry into the small electronics thing has its own history by itself. I'm not going to get into that right now. But the long story short was I had gotten sick, and even though I was only doing entrepreneurial stuff, I had to stop some of it because my body couldn't take it. So that was really my segue into doing the flea markets, because I had done fairly significantly well on eBay, trying to sell small electronics, but I sold it in a way where time was on my side, in the sense that things were still in their infancy. So for argument's sake, I was one of the first people on eBay to sell a 10-foot cable for the iPhone 3. The earlier iPhones. I was the first person on eBay to sell a 6-foot cable. Not the first, but one of the first. And I guess between people doing data analysis and the statistics and so on, that changed rapidly. I was also one of the first people to offer multicolored cables and things like that on eBay. And I was able to sell tens of thousands of cables. That's no longer the case. In fact, I had not been on eBay for about 2 years in the past 3 years. So it's taken me about 6 months to evolve, and then finally in January I said I have to reestablish this, because it's extra money. It's another source of publicizing and branding and things like that. So there's all those things, and it's good for so-called rainy days. Like if it rains tomorrow, then I can do eBay stuff. So it's not that you're dead in the water. And by the way, that's another thing to talk about how to plan your time, and how to set long-term goals and short-term goals, and what you want out of things. Your goals are not just money. Okay, there's other goals around. There's personal satisfaction. There's things you can. Something weird just happened on my phone. Okay. Yeah, I think Periscope is freaking out. Anyway, I'm gonna turn down the block. So what we'll do is I'll say goodbye, because there's a pizzeria here and there's a gourmet thing in a block or two, and I'm gonna park in about a block. So Periscope still has my entry here. Goodbye, and if I go to Columbus tomorrow, I'll have a chat from the night time, because I'll probably be leaving at 4 or something, or 3:30. Take a shower and get out, and see y'all later. Thank you. Bye.